Do it again. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Underrated Movies. I'm your guy, I'm your man, Mr. Alton Henry, and today I'm going to talk to you of another film that I believe is severely underrated and doesn't get talked about a lot. Well, the movie 2 decades old now, but it's not on the 500 greatest list movies, and I think this movie should, and it's a crime. This movie should have got more attention, should have got more nominations, much, but it just got like, hey, it's a good movie. And I think this is the best film of his in his filmography. David O. Russell's Three Kings, starring George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, Spike Jonze, and Ice Cube, along with Jamie Kennedy. The story set in the Kuwait War, I think in the early 90s. It's about three soldiers who get some intel, or four, there's four soldiers. They get intel of a secret stash of gold hidden behind undergrounds, and they embark on a journey to steal the gold and try to take it for themselves. However, unseen circumstances and power struggle gets in their way, and will they be able to take that gold for themselves and make it out of their life in this bizarre satire war comedy? I forgot how I discovered this film, but I think I researched it from David O. Russell's filmography. I think the first film I watched out of his was maybe Silver Linings Playbook, and I really enjoyed that. I think that's underrated too. But when I discovered Three Kings, I thought this is his best movie. It's a unique genre blend of comedy, war, drama, with some action, satire, but in a very unique way. Mark Wahlberg, good old Marky Mark of the Bark of the Mark. He is great in here. I think he might be my favorite character in the film, where he plays, a soldier who's trying to, get in on the go like everybody else. But I think he's the more like energetic kind of guy of the group. And his story gets a little bit interesting midway in the film. There's a sequence where he kind of gets captured, and one of my favorite scenes in the film is where he and his capturer have dialogue about war, belief, and what they kind of stand in for themselves. And there's a torture scene in there. I won't really get too much into it, where the capturer, asks him, ask him what it would feel like to lose someone you love, because he mentions that he actually did when America invaded Kuwait, and he lost his wife and child. And then he asked, if the situation was reversed, what would you feel? And they would have snippets, a little like what if sequences, and there's snippets of it that kind of play out through the dialogue of that scene, and it actually is impactful. This film is actually impactful, balancing the genres that David O. Russell sets out. It really does well with that. It really makes comedic of a very dark situation. It makes it a little bit funny, but you still feel the impact, and it's very powerful and very unique. Some point where sometimes the tone feels a little bit too satire, gets a little bit bizarre, but it still worked in the film's favor thanks to the filmmaker David O. Russell, which I think the big highlight of the film is the director and his vision of the story. That to me really stood out more than the performances. David O. Russell's direction of this film. It's also like a gold heist movie, but it's also a propaganda film. And I think this film, along with a couple other films that came out in 1999, was controversial because of their, political message. I actually liked it. I actually liked what they were doing with this movie, and I actually liked the tone shifts that it kind of went throughout the film as it kind of just escalated a bit more to serious drama, especially towards the end. But there's little moments of here or there of comedy just to kind of keep things a little bit lighthearted. I also liked the look of the film. There was a few moments, most specifically in the beginning, where there's like of the bleaching texture of the frame, where things seemed very contrast, but in a light bleach way. Especially there are moments when they're outside, moments later happen in the film, and it really, I don't know, it kind of gives this surreal look to it, like a very surreal, but I guess like a very surreal look. It gave a very surreal look. What I also really loved were the unique set pieces and action sequences where they actually kind of kept the comedic tone of the action scenes. It was actually kind of unique, and I liked the film for balancing those genres. This to me had a great balance of action and comedy. From any comedy action or war comedy, which there's rarely any war comedies I've seen. To me, this is the best war comedy that I've seen ever, ever. Uh, and it has a very self-aware message about America invading for resource or just war invading for resources, not really caring for the cause. They just in it for their own cause. It was very, I would say, very powerful film. One I could see that not a lot of people might like it, but this one I thought really shined for me. Three Kings, have you seen it? What you thought about it? Let me know in the comment section below, and let me know what is your favorite underrated movie.